They say the first night in jail breaks you, but I wasn't broken yet, just getting started. The cell was cold, freezing cold. The metal bench pressed against my back like ice, and the smell of bleach mixed with something I didn't want to think about filled my nose. I pulled my knees to my chest, still wearing the clothes they'd arrested me in. How did this happen? 1 minute I was home with my family. The next I was being handcuffed in front of my children. The look on Destiny and Isaiah's faces would haunt me forever. First time? A voice asked from the top bunk. I looked up. An older black woman with gray locks stared down at me. She looked to be in her 50s, with kind eyes that had seen too much. Yeah, I whispered. I didn't do anything wrong. I was framed. She laughed, but it wasn't mean. Honey, everyone in here says that. But I believe you. You got that look. Scared but angry. The guilty ones just look angry. I'm Tiana Kane. I know who you are. Saw you on the news. The billionaire's wife who accused some rich family of trying to kill her baby. She climbed down from the bunk and sat next to me. I'm Martha, and between you and me, I think you're telling the truth. How would you know? Martha looked around carefully, making sure the guard wasn't listening. Because the same woman who got you thrown in here tried to destroy me 10 years ago. Mrs. Catherine Harris. That witch has been ruining lives for decades. My blood ran cold. You know Mrs. Harris? Know her? She's the reason I'm in here. I used to work as a nurse at City Hope Hospital. I saw her switch some medical records to cover up for her daughter's mistakes. When I tried to report it, suddenly I was arrested for stealing medication. All lies. All planted evidence. Just like what they're doing to you. I grabbed her arm. Can you testify? Can you help prove she's behind this? Honey, I've been trying to get anyone to listen for 10 years. Nobody believes an ex-con over a rich society lady. Martha squeezed my hand. But maybe they'll listen to a billionaire's wife. Maybe you're the one who can finally take her down. A guard banged on the bars. Lights out in 5 minutes. As the lights went out, I lay on that cold metal bench and made a promise to myself. Mrs. Harris thought she could break me. She thought she could take everything I loved. She was wrong. When they came for his wife, Marcus Kane stopped being a businessman and became a weapon. Marcus hadn't slept in 36 hours. His eyes were red-shot, his expensive suit wrinkled, and he'd stopped answering calls from anyone except his lawyers and security team. Mr. Kane, you need to rest, James said, setting down another cup of coffee. You're no good to Mrs. Kane if you collapse. I'll rest when my wife is home. Marcus spread documents across his desk, court papers, police reports, witness statements, everything about Tiana's arrest. There has to be something we missed, something that proves this is all manufactured. His lead attorney, David Richardson, a sharp black man in his 50s, walked in carrying a briefcase. Marcus, I've got good news and bad news. Start with the good. The good news is I found out who signed the arrest warrant. Judge Thomas Whitmore. He's been on the bench for 20 years with a spotless record. And the bad news? David pulled out bank statements. 3 days before he signed the warrant, Judge Whitmore received a wire transfer for $250,000 from a shell company owned by, guess who? Mrs. Harris. Bingo. She bought herself a judge. Marcus slammed his fist on the desk so hard his coffee spilled. That's illegal. That's proof of corruption. It is, but proving it in court is tricky. These shell companies are designed to hide the paper trail. We need more evidence before we can go after the judge. Marcus stood up and walked to the window overlooking Chicago, his city, his home, and somewhere out there his wife was sitting in a jail cell for crimes she didn't commit. David, I don't care what it costs. Hire every investigator, every lawyer, every expert we need. I want Mrs. Harris's entire life torn apart. Bank records, phone records, emails, everything. If she jaywalked 20 years ago, I want proof. That's going to be expensive, Marcus. We're talking millions. I don't care if it costs billions. That's my wife, the mother of my children. Nobody touches my family and gets away with it. David nodded. I'll make the calls. After he left, Marcus picked up his phone and dialed a number he'd hoped he'd never have to use. It rang 3 times before someone answered. Detective Morrison, this is Marcus Kane. I need a favor, a big one. Mr. Kane, I can't get involved in an active case. I'm not asking you to get involved. I'm asking you to look the other way while I do what needs to be done. Mrs. Catherine Harris framed my wife. I have proof, but if I go through official channels, she'll use her connections to bury it. So I'm going to handle this my way. There was a long pause. Mr. Kane, are you telling me you're planning to break the law? I'm telling you that when they took my wife, they declared war. And in war, rules don't apply. I'd never heard this conversation. Good man. Marcus hung up and looked at the photo on his desk. Him, Tiana, and the kids on their wedding renewal day. They were all smiling, happy, safe. He would do whatever it took to get back to that moment.
Whatever it took. Money can buy judges, witnesses, and even the truth, if you know who to pay. Mrs. Catherine Harris sat in her mansion study, sipping tea and watching the evening news. The headline made her smile. Billionaire's wife arrested for extortion and false accusations. Perfect. Her daughter Simone walked in, looking nervous. Mother, are you sure about this? What if Marcus figures out what we did? Marcus Kane is too busy trying to save his precious wife to worry about us. And by the time he realizes what's happening, it will be too late. Mrs. Harris pulled out a folder filled with photographs and documents. I've already paid off 3 witnesses who will testify that Tiana tried to extort money from the Martinez family. The judge is in my pocket, and I have evidence, fabricated of course, showing that Tiana falsified those DNA test results. But Mother, kidnapping those children and framing an innocent woman, this is going too far. Mrs. Harris stood up, her face cold. Too far. Simone, Marcus Kane was supposed to marry you. You were supposed to give birth to his heirs. You were supposed to be the wife of the richest man in Chicago. But that trashy little nobody stole him from you. Marcus never loved me. He told me that years ago. Because he didn't know what was good for him. I saved his life when he was 15. He owes me everything. His company, his success, his fortune, all of it should belong to our family. She grabbed Simone's arm hard. And it will. Once Tiana is in prison and Marcus is desperate, you'll step in as the supportive friend. He'll realize he should have chosen you all along. And if he doesn't? Mrs. Harris's smile turned evil. Then we'll make sure his children disappear permanently. Without Tiana and without his kids, Marcus will have nothing. And a man with nothing is easy to control. Simone felt sick to her stomach. Mother, that's murder. That's survival. Now stop questioning me and do what I tell you. Tomorrow you're going to visit Marcus. Offer him comfort. Make him trust you again. And when the time is right, you'll help us finish this. After Simone left, Mrs. Harris made a phone call. It's me. Is everything ready for phase 2? Good. Make sure the media gets those photos of Tiana harassing the Martinez family. I want her painted as an unstable woman obsessed with destroying innocent people. Yes, I've already paid them. The story runs tomorrow morning. She hung up and looked at a photo on her desk. A young Marcus, age 15, standing next to her after she'd saved him from drowning. He'd been so grateful back then, so loyal. You should have stayed grateful, Marcus. Now you'll learn what happens when you betray me. In a courtroom, truth should be the only weapon, but money buys bigger guns. The bail hearing was packed. Reporters filled the back rows, cameras rolling despite the judge's orders. Marcus sat in the front, his hands clenched so tight his knuckles were white. Tiana was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit, her hands cuffed in front of her. When she saw Marcus, tears filled her eyes. He mouthed, "I love you," and she nodded. Judge Whitmore, the same judge Mrs. Harris had paid off, banged his gavel. "We're here for the bail hearing of Tiana Kane, charged with extortion, harassment, and filing false police reports. Counselor, you may begin." David Richardson stood up. "Your Honor, my client is innocent of all charges. These accusations are completely fabricated by the Martinez family and Mrs. Catherine Harris to silence Mrs. Kane after she uncovered their criminal activities." "That's a serious accusation, Mr. Richardson. Do you have proof?" "Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to submit DNA test results proving that Mrs. Kane's son Isaiah was indeed abandoned as a baby and that her sister Valencia Martinez committed attempted murder." David handed the documents to the clerk, who passed them to the judge. Judge Whitmore studied them carefully. "These appear to be legitimate DNA test results from a certified lab." "They are, Your Honor. They prove conclusively that Mrs. Kane was telling the truth about—" "Objection." The prosecutor, a thin white woman named Amanda Pierce, stood up. She was wearing an expensive suit and had "paid off" written all over her face. "Your Honor, I have DNA test results from the same lab that tell a completely different story." "What?" David spun around. "That's impossible." Amanda handed her documents to the judge. "These results, dated 1 day after Mr. Richardson's tests, show that the DNA samples were contaminated. Furthermore, we have testimony from the lab technician stating that Mrs. Kane bribed him to falsify the original results." The courtroom erupted. Marcus jumped to his feet. "That's a lie." "Order! Mr. Kane, sit down or I'll have you removed." Judge Whitmore studied both sets of documents. "This is highly irregular." "Your Honor, my client has witnesses who will testify that Mrs. Kane has been harassing them for months. She's obsessed with destroying the Martinez family because they refused to enable her irresponsible behavior 15 years ago. She fabricated this entire story about attempted murder to get revenge." "That's not true," Tiana cried out. "I have proof. The note. The note in question has been examined by a handwriting expert hired by the Martinez family. The expert concluded that Mrs. Kane herself wrote the note to frame her sister." "Lies!" Marcus shouted. "All of this is lies, bought and paid for by Mrs. Harris." Judge Whitmore banged his gavel. "Mr. Kane, one more outburst and you'll be held in contempt. Now, given the conflicting evidence and the serious nature of these charges, I am denying bail. Mrs. Kane will remain in custody until trial." "No!" Marcus tried to run to Tiana, but security guards held him back. As they led Tiana away, she looked back at Marcus with tears streaming down her face. "Take care of our babies, please." "I will, I promise. I'll get you out of there." Outside the courthouse, Marcus grabbed David by the collar. "How did this happen? How did they get fake DNA results?" "Someone at the lab must have been bribed. Marcus, Mrs. Harris has connections everywhere. She's been planning this for a long time." "Then we need to be smarter, faster, more ruthless." Marcus pulled out his phone. "James, I need you to do something for me. Something that might be illegal." "Name it, sir." "I need you to break into Mrs. Harris's house and get me evidence. Bank statements, emails, recordings, anything. I don't care how you do it. Just get it." David grabbed Marcus's arm. "Marcus, if you get caught—" "I don't care. My wife is innocent and I'm going to prove it even if I have to break every law in this city."
Love doesn't need words when hearts speak the same language. Visiting hours at Cook County Jail were depressing. The room was gray, cold, and smelled like industrial cleaner. Families sat at small tables, separated by glass partitions, speaking through phones. Marcus sat on one side, waiting. When they brought Tiana out, his heart broke. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. Her box braids were messy. The orange jumpsuit hung on her like she lost weight. They both picked up the phones at the same time.
Baby? Marcus's voice cracked. Are you okay? I'm surviving. How are the kids? They're with Grandma Rose. Destiny cries every night asking for you. Isaiah barely talks. Nathan keeps asking when Mommy's coming home. Tears rolled down Marcus's face. I'm so sorry, Tiana. This is all my fault. If I'd never gotten involved with Mrs. Harris's family... Stop. Don't you dare blame yourself. Tiana pressed her hand against the glass. Marcus pressed his on the other side, matching hers. Mrs. Harris is evil. She's been planning this for years. But Marcus, we can't let her win. We won't. I have people working on it right now. We're going to find proof of what she did. What if you can't? What if I'm stuck in here? Then I'll burn this whole system down. Marcus's voice turned hard. I'll expose every corrupt judge, every paid-off witness, every dirty cop. I'll use every dollar I have, every connection I've made. Mrs. Harris thought she could destroy us, but she just declared war on the wrong family. Tiana smiled through her tears. That's my husband, my warrior. I need you to stay strong in here. Can you do that? I can. But Marcus, promise me something. Anything. If something happens to me, if Mrs. Harris succeeds, promise me you'll protect our children. Promise me you'll make sure they know how much I love them. Nothing's going to happen to you. I won't let it. Promise me, Marcus. He closed his eyes, tears streaming. I promise. But it won't come to that. I'm getting you out of here, baby. I don't care what I have to do. A guard announced that visiting time was over. I love you, Tiana said desperately. I love you so much. I love you too. This isn't goodbye. This is just temporary. I'll see you soon. At home. With our kids. As they took Tiana away, she looked back one more time. Marcus stayed at the glass, his hand still pressed where hers had been, until a guard made him leave. In the parking lot, he sat in his car and screamed. Pure rage and pain poured out of him until his voice was hoarse. Then he made a call. James, tell me you have something, anything. We're working on it, sir, but there's something you need to know. I found out Mrs. Harris isn't just after Mrs. Kane. She's planning something bigger. What? I intercepted a phone call, Marcus. They're going to take the children. Marcus's world stopped. When? Soon. Maybe this week. They're planning to make it look like a random kidnapping. Get every security guard we have. Triple the protection. Nobody gets near my kids. Nobody. Already done, sir. Marcus started the car and drove straight to his grandmother's house where the children were staying. When he got there, Destiny ran into his arms. Daddy, did you see Mommy? Is she coming home? He hugged her tight, then pulled Isaiah and baby Nathan close. Mommy's going to be home soon, but right now, Daddy needs you all to be very brave. Can you do that? Why? What's wrong? Some bad people are trying to hurt our family, but I'm not going to let them. You're safe here with Grandma Rose and all of Daddy's security guards. Nobody's going to hurt you. But even as he said it, Marcus knew the truth. Mrs. Harris was coming. And when she did, blood would be spilled. Trust is earned in drops, but lost in buckets, and someone just spilled everything. James Washington had been Marcus Kane's head of security for 8 years. In that time, he'd protected Marcus from corporate espionage, crazy stalkers, and even a kidnapping attempt. He never failed. Until now. James sat in his office at 2 a.m. staring at security footage from the past month. Something was wrong. Information kept leaking to Mrs. Harris's team, information that only Marcus's inner circle should know. There was a mole.
He pulled up the employee files on his security team. 23 guards total, all carefully vetted. James had personally hired every one. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Stop investigating. You're next." He immediately traced the number. It pinged off a cell tower 3 blocks from Mrs. Harris's mansion. "Got ya," he muttered. He pulled up the location history for every company phone and vehicle over the past 2 weeks. Most of the patterns were normal. Guards going home, running errands, nothing suspicious. But one name stood out. Thomas Rivera, age 32, hired 6 months ago. His location history showed multiple visits to the neighborhood where Mrs. Harris lived, always on his days off, always for exactly 1 hour. He pulled up Thomas's banking records, one of the high-level security clearance benefits. His heart sunk. 3 deposits of $50,000 each, all from shell companies, all in the past 2 months. Son of a bitch. He immediately called Marcus. "Boss, we have a problem. I found the mole. It's Thomas Rivera. He's been feeding Mrs. Harris everything. Our security plans, your schedule, even information about Mrs. Kane's legal strategy. Where is he now?" James checked the GPS tracker on Thomas's company phone. Oh no. He's at your grandmother's house. "Boss, he's with the kids right now." Marcus's voice turned deadly. "I'm 5 minutes away. Don't let him leave." "I'm already in my car. I'll be there in 3 minutes." James grabbed his gun, jumped in his SUV, and raced through Chicago streets. His phone rang. It was the security team at Grandma Rose's house. "James, we have a situation. Rivera just knocked out Williams and grabbed the 2 older kids. He's heading for the back exit." "Stop him! Use force if you have to." "He's armed, sir. He's threatening to shoot if we get close." James pushed his SUV to 90 miles per hour. "I'm 1 minute out. Do not let him get those kids off the property." He screeched into the driveway just as Thomas was shoving Destiny and Isaiah into a black van. 2 other men James didn't recognize were helping him.
"Freeze! Security!" James jumped out with his gun drawn. Thomas pointed his gun at Destiny's head. "Back off or the girl dies." "You don't want to do this, Thomas. You're a good man. Don't throw your life away for Mrs. Harris's dirty money." "Shut up. You don't know what she promised me." "I know exactly what she promised. Money and protection." "But Thomas, she's lying. She's going to throw you under the bus the second this goes wrong. You'll go to prison while she walks free." For a moment, Thomas hesitated. That's when Marcus's car came flying around the corner. He didn't slow down. He aimed straight for the van and crashed into it at full speed, sending Thomas flying. The other 2 men ran. James shot one in the leg. The other disappeared into the night. Marcus jumped out of his destroyed car and grabbed his children. "Are you okay? Did they hurt you?" "Daddy," Destiny was crying. "That man said he was taking us to Mommy." Isaiah was shaking but trying to be brave. "I knew it was a trick. I tried."
"Freeze! Security!" James jumped out with his gun drawn. Thomas pointed his gun at Destiny's head. "Back off or the girl dies." "You don't want to do this, Thomas. You're a good man. Don't throw your life away from Mrs. Harris's dirty money." "Shut up. You don't know what she promised me." "I know exactly what she promised. Money and protection. But Thomas, she's lying. She's gonna throw you under the bus the second this goes wrong. You'll go to prison while she walks free." For a moment, Thomas hesitated. That's when Marcus's car came flying around the corner. He didn't slow down. He aimed straight for the van and crashed into it at full speed, sending Thomas flying. The other 2 men ran. James shot one in the leg. The other disappeared into the night.
Marcus jumped out of his destroyed car and grabbed his children. "Are you okay? Did they hurt you?" "Daddy," Destiny was crying. "That man said he was taking us to Mommy." Isaiah was shaking but trying to be brave. "I knew it was a trick. I tried to fight him." Marcus held them both tight, tears streaming down his face. "You're safe now. You're safe." James handcuffed Thomas, who was groaning on the ground with a broken arm. "You're under arrest for kidnapping, assault, and treason." "You can't arrest me. I'm not a cop." "No, but I am." Detective Morrison stepped out of an unmarked car, "and I've been waiting for Mrs. Harris to make a move like this. Thomas Rivera, you have the right to remain silent." As the police took Thomas away, he started screaming, "Mrs. Harris promised me $1 million. She promised my family would be taken care of. You can't do this to me." "She lied to you, son," Morrison said sadly, "just like she's lied to everyone else." Marcus looked at James. "Thank you. If you hadn't found him." "That's my job, boss, protecting your family. I just wish I'd caught him sooner." "You caught him in time. That's all that matters." But as they walked back into the house with the terrified children, Marcus got a text from an unknown number. "Nice try, but that was just a test. The real move is coming, and next time, you won't see it coming. CH." Mrs. Harris was just getting started. Guilt is a poison that kills slowly, one lie at a time. Simone Harris sat in an expensive restaurant downtown, wearing a red dress that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Across from her sat Assistant District Attorney Michael Chin, the prosecutor who was supposed to be handling Tiana's case objectively. But objectivity went out the window when Simone had seduced him 3 weeks ago. "Michael, darling, thank you for meeting me," Simone purred, touching his hand across the table. "Simone, if anyone finds out we're seeing each other while I'm prosecuting your mother's case, I could lose my job." "Which is why nobody will find out. I'm very discreet." She leaned forward, letting him get a good look. "I just wanted to make sure you're comfortable with how the case is going." "The case is solid. Between the fake DNA results, the paid witnesses, and the judge in your mother's pocket, Tiana Kane doesn't stand a chance. She'll probably get 10 years. 10 years? That's all? For false accusations and extortion? That's actually pretty good. Unless," Michael smiled slyly, "unless we could add more charges. Maybe we could claim she was part of a conspiracy to defraud the Martinez family. That could get her 20 years. Simone kissed him. "You're brilliant, and when this is all over, my mother will make sure you're rewarded. Maybe a partnership at a top law firm or a judgeship. I like the sound of that." After dinner, Simone went home to her luxury condo. She poured herself a glass of wine and turned on the news. The headline showed Tiana's children crying outside the courthouse. Destiny was holding a sign that said, "Free my mommy." Isaiah stood next to her, looking lost and broken. Something twisted in Simone's chest. Guilt? No, she couldn't afford guilt. But the image of those children haunted her. Her phone rang. It was her mother. "Simone, did you take care of the prosecutor?" "Yes, Mother. He's completely under control. He'll do whatever we need." "Good, because I need you to do something else. I need you to get close to Marcus again." "Mother, he hates me. He won't let me anywhere near him." "Then make him need you. His wife is in prison. His children are traumatized. He's vulnerable right now. Show up at his office with coffee and sympathy. Remind him of the old days when you were friends. Make him trust you again." "Why? What are you planning?" "That's not your concern. Just do what I tell you." After her mother hung up, Simone stood on her balcony looking out at the Chicago skyline. She'd been in love with Marcus since they were teenagers, but he'd never loved her back. No matter what she did, no matter how much she tried, he'd only ever seen her as a friend. Then Tiana showed up and stole him in a single day. Simone told herself she was doing this for love, that once Tiana was gone, Marcus would finally see her, finally choose her. But deep down, she knew the truth. She was doing this because her mother told her to, because she'd never had the courage to stand up to Catherine Harris, because she was a coward. The next morning, Simone showed up at Kane Enterprises with coffee and pastries. Marcus's secretary tried to stop her. "Miss Harris, Mr. Kane isn't seeing anyone today. Tell him it's me. Tell him I need to talk to him about my mother." 5 minutes later, she was in Marcus's office. He looked terrible, exhausted, stressed, barely holding it together. "What do you want, Simone?" "I want to help you. Help me. Your mother is the one destroying my family." "I know, and I'm sorry." "Marcus, I had no idea how far she'd gone until recently. The kidnapping attempt, the fake evidence, all of it. I swear I didn't know." "I don't believe you." Simone put the coffee on his desk. "I don't expect you to, but I'm telling you the truth. My mother has lost her mind, and I think she's planning something worse." "What do you mean?" "I heard her on the phone last night. She was talking about phase 3, something about making sure Tiana never gets out of prison." "Marcus, I think she's going to have Tiana killed."
"What?" "Please, you have to believe me. I may be a lot of things, but I'm not a murderer. I don't want Tiana dead. I just wanted her gone." Marcus grabbed Simone by the shoulders. "Tell me everything you know, every detail, now." As Simone talked, revealing pieces of her mother's plan, she felt something strange. Relief. Maybe she wasn't completely evil after all. Maybe she could still save someone before it was too late. But when she left Marcus's office and her mother called asking for a report, Simone lied. "He doesn't suspect anything, Mother. He thinks I'm on his side now." "Perfect. Keep it that way." Simone hung up and cried. She was helping both sides, betraying both sides, and destroying herself in the process. And she had no idea how to stop. Destiny's so innocent. It would be such a shame if something happened to her. Isaiah reminds me of his father. Same eyes, same courage. Wonder if he'll scream when I take him. That safe house in Oak Park? Not so safe. Tiana couldn't sleep anymore. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow looked like a threat. She kept Isaiah and Destiny home from school, much to their protests. "Mommy, I want to see my friends," Destiny whined. "Not right now, baby. It's not safe." "When will it be safe?" Tiana didn't have an answer. Marcus hired a cybersecurity expert to trace the messages, a young black woman named Kennedy, who'd worked for the FBI before going private. "These messages are bouncing through servers all over the world," Kennedy explained, showing her laptop. "Whoever's sending them knows what they're doing, but they made one mistake." "What mistake?" Marcus asked. "The photos. Digital photos contain metadata, information about when and where they were taken. Most people scrubbed that data before sending, but one photo still had location data embedded." "Where was it taken from?" Kennedy pulled up a map. "An apartment building, 2847 North Clark Street, Unit 6B. Marcus stood up immediately. "Let's go." "Marcus, wait," Simone said. "This could be another trap." "I don't care. I'm tired of being hunted in my own city." They went with a full security team. When they got to the apartment building, the door to Unit 6B was unlocked. Inside, they found a surveillance operation that looked like something from a spy movie. Multiple monitors showing live feeds of their apartment, their offices, the kids' school, photos covering every wall. But nobody was there. On the main monitor, a video started playing automatically. It showed Valencia alive, sitting in what looked like a cheap motel room. "Hello, sister," Valencia said to the camera. "Surprise! I'm not dead. The body they found in my cell? A homeless woman who looked enough like me. Cost me $50,000 to arrange, but Mrs. Harris has deep pockets." Tiana's legs went weak. "She's alive. Valencia is alive." The video continued. "By now you've found my surveillance setup. Clever, right? Mrs. Harris and I have been watching you for weeks, learning your patterns, your routines, your weaknesses. And now we're ready for the final move." "What final move?" Marcus asked to the screen. Valencia smiled. "You'll find out soon enough, but here's a hint. It involves your children, both of them. See, Mrs. Harris wants Isaiah. She believes he belongs with proper people, not some nobody from the projects. And me, I want revenge. So we've made a deal." Valencia showed Valencia holding up a piece of paper. "This is a fake custody order signed by our corrupt judge friend before he got arrested. It gives Mrs. Harris legal custody of Isaiah based on claims that you're unfit parents. She's going to take him, Marcus, and there's nothing you can do about it." "That won't hold up in court," Marcus said. Valencia laughed. "It doesn't have to hold up forever, just long enough for her to disappear with him. Maybe to Europe, maybe to South America, somewhere you'll never find him. And as for me, I'm taking destiny over my dead body," Tiana whispered. "That can be arranged. Actually, that's the plan. Mrs. Harris wants you dead, Tiana. Dead and buried so Marcus can move on with her daughter Simone. And I want revenge. So we're going to make it happen. Soon. Very soon." The video ended. Marcus immediately called Detective Morrison. "Valencia Martinez is alive. She faked her death and she's planning to kidnap our children. I'm on my way." But before Morrison could arrive, all the monitors in the apartment suddenly switched to a new feed. It showed Mrs. Harris standing in what looked like a private plane. "Hello, Marcus. Hello, Tiana," Mrs. Harris said calmly. "By the time you see this message, I'll be on my way out of the country. But don't worry, I'll be back with a new identity, new resources, and a new plan. See, you can't kill a hydra by cutting off one head. Cut off Valencia, and I'll find someone else. Cut off me, and someone else will continue the work." "What work?" Marcus demanded at the screen. "The work of putting you in your place. You were supposed to be grateful to me, Marcus. I saved your life. I helped build your company. I gave you everything. And you thanked me by marrying trash." "Tiana is not trash." "Oh, but she is. And eventually, you'll see that. When I'm done destroying your family, when I've taken everything you love, when you're broken and desperate, maybe then you'll realize you should have chosen Simone. But by then, it will be too late." The video ended. Kennedy frantically tried to trace it. The signal came from a private airstrip in Gary, Indiana. "If we move now, we might catch her." Marcus called his helicopter pilot. "Get the helicopter ready. We're going to Gary." "Marcus, this is a police matter now," Detective Morrison said over the phone. "Let us handle it." "No offense, Detective, but the police have been handling it for weeks, and my family is still in danger. I'm handling it my way." 30 minutes later, Marcus, Tiana, and a security team were in a helicopter racing towards Gary. When they got to the airstrip, they found a small private plane about to take off. "That's her!" Kennedy shouted, looking through binoculars. "That's Mrs. Harris's plane." The helicopter pilot radioed the control tower. "This is November 742 Charlie. We have reason to believe the aircraft preparing for takeoff is carrying a fugitive. Request you ground that plane immediately." "Negative, November 742 Charlie. That aircraft has clearance for takeoff." They paid off the tower. Marcus said, "Land this helicopter, now." They touched down just as Mrs. Harris's plane started rolling down the runway. Marcus jumped out and ran towards it, waving his arms. "Stop! Stop that plane!" But the plane didn't stop. It picked up speed. Marcus pulled out his phone and made one last desperate call. "General Patterson, it's Marcus Kane. I need that favor you owe me. There's a plane about to take off from Gary Municipal Airport. The passenger is a wanted fugitive. Can you—" "Yes, I understand this is highly irregular. Yes, I'll take full responsibility." "Thank you, sir." 2 minutes later, 2 military jets appeared in the sky. They flanked Mrs. Harris's plane and forced it to land. FBI agents swarmed the aircraft. They pulled Mrs. Harris out in handcuffs, screaming, "You can't do this! I have rights! I have diplomatic immunity!" "You don't have immunity for attempted murder," Detective Morrison said, arriving in a police helicopter. "Catherine Harris, you're under arrest." As they took her away, she looked at Marcus and Tiana with pure hatred. "This isn't over. Even from prison, I'll destroy you." "You can try, but we're still standing, and you're going to jail." The worst wounds come from the knives you never saw coming. With Mrs. Harris arrested, the FBI launched a full investigation into everyone connected to her. Bank records were seized, associates were questioned. The entire conspiracy was unraveling. That's when they discovered something that broke Tiana's heart. Diane Martinez, her adoptive mother, had been helping Mrs. Harris for years. Detective Morrison showed them the evidence. Mrs. Martinez received over $2 million from Mrs. Harris over the past decade. In exchange, she provided information about you, Tiana, your whereabouts, your struggles, your vulnerabilities. She was reporting back to Mrs. Harris the entire time. "No," Tiana whispered. She couldn't." "I'm sorry, Mrs. Kane, but the evidence is clear." Marcus put his arm around Tiana. "Baby, we don't have to deal with this right now." "Yes, we do. I need to hear it from her." They brought Diane in for questioning. The woman who'd raised Tiana for 18 years sat across from her, looking old and defeated. "Why?" Tiana asked. "Why would you help her hurt me?" Diane started crying. "Because I was scared. After we kicked you out, Mrs. Harris approached me. She said if I didn't help her, she'd expose some things about Robert's business, illegal things that would send him to prison. So you sold me out to protect your husband." "I didn't know what she was planning. At first, she just wanted to know where you were living, how you were doing. I thought she was just keeping tabs on you for Marcus's sake. I didn't know she wanted to hurt you." "But you kept taking her money." "Yes, and I'm so sorry." Tiana stood up. "You chose Robert over me, again, just like you always did. Valencia was your favorite because she was like you, willing to do anything for status and money. But me, I was just the orphan you took in to make yourselves look good." "That's not true. We loved you." "You loved the idea of me, the perfect adopted daughter who made you look charitable. But the moment I became inconvenient, you threw me away." Tiana leaned forward. "You know the worst part? I still loved you. Even after you kicked me out, even after you chose Valencia over me, I still hoped that one day you'd realize you were wrong. But now I see the truth. You were never my mother. You were just a woman who let me live in her house." Diane sobbed. "Tiana, please." "Save it. I hope the money was worth it." As they left the interrogation room, Tiana collapsed into Marcus's arms. "Why does everyone I love betray me?" she cried. "My parents abandoned me. My adoptive family threw me away. My sister tried to kill my baby. What's wrong with me?" "Nothing is wrong with you," Marcus said fiercely. "They're the ones who are broken. You're perfect. And anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve you." That night, Tiana made a decision. "I want to find my birth mother, Grace, the woman who came to see me. I need to know if there's anyone in my biological family who's not completely terrible." "Are you sure?" No, but I have to try. I need to know where I come from. Maybe then I can finally move forward. Marcus called his investigator. 2 days later, they had an address for Grace Johnson. She lived in a small apartment in Pilsen, working as a nurse at a free clinic. When Tiana showed up at her door, Grace looked shocked. "Tiana, what are you doing here?" "Can we talk, please?" They sat in Grace's tiny living room. Photos covered the walls, newspaper clippings about Tiana, photos from social media, even a copy of Tiana's wedding announcement. "You've been following my life," Tiana said. "I never stopped. I gave you up because I thought it was best for you. I was 16, homeless, alone. I thought the Martinez family would give you a better life than I could ever give. Was I wrong?" "Yes," Tiana said honestly. "They used me, abused me, threw me away when I became inconvenient." Grace started crying. "I'm so sorry. If I'd known—" "You couldn't have known. And honestly, maybe it needed to happen this way, because all that pain, all that struggle led me to Marcus, led me to my children, led me to the life I have now. You're not angry at me?" "I was. For years, I was furious that you abandoned me. But now I understand. You were a child yourself. You did the best you could." Grace grabbed Tiana's hand. Can I be part of your life? I don't expect to be called mom. I know I didn't earn that. But maybe we could start over." Tiana thought about it, about all the betrayals, about all the pain. But she also thought about forgiveness, about second chances. "Okay," she said finally, "but slowly. I'm not ready to trust easily anymore." "I'll take slow. I'll take whatever you're willing to give." They talked for hours. Grace told Tiana about her own childhood, abusive parents, poverty, the boyfriend who got her pregnant and disappeared. She said, "I named you before I left you. Tiana means princess. I wanted you to know that even though I couldn't keep you, you were precious to me." For the first time in weeks, Tiana felt something like peace. Maybe not everyone in her past was evil. Maybe some people were just broken, trying their best. Maybe forgiveness was possible after all.
In the digital age, the truth lives in ones and zeros if you know where to look. With Mrs. Harris in custody, Marcus wanted to make absolutely sure she couldn't hurt them from prison. That meant finding every piece of evidence, every co-conspirator, every dirty secret. Kennedy, the cybersecurity expert, had been working around the clock. "Mr. Kane, you need to see this," she said, pulling up files on her computer. Marcus and Tiana gathered around her laptop. On the screen were medical records from 5 years ago. "These are the records from the night you both were at the Lanting Hotel," Kennedy explained. Mrs. Harris had access to hospital systems through her charity foundation. She didn't just switch records, she orchestrated the entire night. "What do you mean?" Tiana asked. Kennedy pulled up more files. "These are hired someone to drug both of you. The goal was to get you pregnant, Mr. Kane. She wanted you to have an heir, but she wanted to control that heir." "Why?" "Because of this." Kennedy showed them a document. Your grandmother's will, the original one before it was changed. It states that if you have children, they inherit 50% of your fortune when they turn 18. Mrs. Harris wanted to be those children's guardian. She wanted to control your fortune through them.
That's insane, Marcus said. It's also illegal. She planned this for years, the drugging, the pregnancy, even hiring someone to take baby Isaiah from the hospital. She wanted Simone to raise him, to mold him into someone who would give her access to your money. But the plan failed when Isaiah was found by Marcus and when we ended up together anyway. Exactly. That's when she shifted strategies. If she couldn't control your children, she'd destroy your family completely. She worked with Valencia, paid off judges, faked evidence, all to break you apart. Marcus sat down, overwhelmed. She literally orchestrated my entire adult life. Kennedy nodded. There's more. I found code embedded in the Kane Enterprise network. She's been spying on your business dealings for years, stealing trade secrets, selling them to competitors. She's cost me millions. Try billions. I found records of transactions dating back 8 years. Mrs. Harris has made at least $3 billion off your stolen intellectual property. Can we prove it? Absolutely. I've already contacted the FBI. They're adding corporate espionage and racketeering to her charges. Mr. Kane, when this goes to trial, Catherine Harris is looking at life in federal prison without possibility of parole. Tiana felt a grim satisfaction. Good. She deserves worse, but I'll take it. Kennedy hesitated. There's one more thing, something you need to know about Simone. What about her? She gave you that USB drive with evidence against her mother, the one that helped get Mrs. Kane released? Yes, what about it? Kennedy pulled up a file. Simone didn't just betray her mother. She's been secretly recording conversations, documenting crimes, gathering evidence for the past 3 years. She's been building a case against Mrs. Harris for a long time. Why? Because Mrs. Harris poisoned Simone's fiancé 6 years ago, the man Simone was going to marry. He died of a heart attack that was actually caused by digitalis poisoning. Simone suspected but couldn't prove it, so she's been gathering evidence ever since. Mrs. Harris killed Simone's fiancé? Yes, because he wasn't good enough for the Harris family name. So she murdered him and made it look natural. Where's Simone now? Tiana asked. Protective custody. The FBI has her in a safe house. She's terrified her mother will retaliate. She's in jail. How can she retaliate? Kennedy looked grim. Mrs. Harris has connections everywhere. Prison guards, other inmates, people on the outside. If she wants Simone dead, she can make it happen. Then we need to protect Simone, Tiana said. Marcus looked at her in surprise. After everything she did? She helped save me. She gave us the evidence we needed. And she's been a victim of her mother just like we have. We can't let Mrs. Harris kill her. Marcus nodded. Kennedy, work with the FBI. Make sure Simone is protected, whatever it costs. Already on it. That night, Tiana couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about how many lives Mrs. Harris had destroyed, how many people she'd hurt. What if she gets out? Tiana asked Marcus in the darkness. What if some lawyer finds a loophole? Then we'll be ready. But baby, with all this evidence, she's never getting out. Kennedy found enough to put her away for 5 lifetimes. I hope you're right. I am. For the first time in months, we're safe. Really, truly safe. Tiana wanted to believe him, but a part of her would never feel completely safe again. Dead men tell no tales, but their lawyers remember everything. 3 weeks after Mrs. Harris's arrest, Marcus received a call from an attorney he didn't recognize. Mr. Kane, this is Jonathan Reeves. I was Robert Martinez's attorney for 30 years. I have something you need to see. What is it? I can't discuss it over the phone. Can you meet me at my office today? Marcus and Tiana drove to the law office in downtown Chicago. Jonathan Reeves was an elderly black man with kind eyes and silver hair. Thank you for coming, he said, gesturing to chairs. I debated whether to reach out, but after Robert's death and everything that's happened, I feel morally obligated to share this. He pulled out an old envelope sealed with wax. Robert gave me this 20 years ago with specific instructions. I was only to open it if he died or if certain circumstances arose. His death triggers the first condition. The arrest of Catherine Harris triggers the second. What's in it? Tiana asked.
He broke the seal and pulled out handwritten pages, Robert's handwriting. I'll read the relevant parts, Jonathan said. Robert writes, "If you're reading this, I'm dead, or Catherine Harris has finally been exposed. I should have stopped her years ago, but I was a coward. I let her threaten men into silence. I let her destroy innocent people, and I will never forgive myself." Tiana's eyes filled with tears. This was her adoptive father, the man who'd kicked her out, finally admitting the truth. Jonathan continued reading. 20 years ago, Catherine Harris approached me with a business proposition. She needed someone to help her launder money from her illegal activities. In exchange, she would help my import business avoid certain regulations. I agreed, like a fool. Robert was laundering money for her? Marcus asked. Apparently. He goes on. Over the years, I saw Catherine hurt many people. She ruined business competitors. She destroyed anyone who crossed her. She even killed her own husband when he threatened to divorce her. I have proof, a recording of her confession that she made when she thought I was dying in the hospital. She killed her husband? Tiana gasped. According to Robert, yes. He writes, I have hidden the recording in my office at home. Behind the bookshelf, there's a safe. The combination is Tiana's birthday, 10/15/2000. Inside is a flash drive with the recording and other evidence of Catherine's crimes. Why would he make the combination my birthday? Tiana wondered. Jonathan smiled sadly. He writes about that too. I know I failed Tiana. I chose my wife and Valencia over her. I kicked her out when she needed me most. I believed lies about her instead of fighting for the truth, but I never stopped loving her. She was my daughter in every way that mattered, and I threw her away like garbage. The combination is her birthday because she's the one person in my life I should have protected, but didn't. Maybe, after I'm gone, this confession will help her find justice. Tiana was openly crying now. Marcus held her hand. There's more, Jonathan said. Robert details every crime Mrs. Harris committed. Money laundering, blackmail, bribery, 3 murders, including her husband. He also reveals that Valencia's medical malpractice wasn't the first time. She'd made similar mistakes before, and Mrs. Harris always covered them up. Why did Robert keep quiet about all this? Marcus asked. Fear. He writes, Catherine threatened to expose my illegal business dealings. She had evidence that would send me to prison for 20 years. So I stayed quiet, even when I knew she was hurting innocent people, even when she went after Tiana. I chose my freedom over my daughter's safety, and I will burn in hell for it. The lawyer pulled out another document. This is a new will Robert wrote but never filed. He left everything, his entire estate, to Tiana. Not to Diane, not to Valencia, to Tiana. He writes, I can't undo the past, but I can try to make amends. Everything I own belongs to my daughter, the daughter I should have loved better. Tiana couldn't speak. She just cried. After they left the lawyer's office, Marcus drove them to the Martinez house. Diane had moved out after being charged as an accessory. The house was empty. They found Robert's office. Behind the bookshelf was indeed a safe. Tiana entered her birthday, 10/15/2000. The safe opened. Inside was a flash drive and a letter addressed to Tiana. She read it aloud through her tears. My dearest Tiana, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm so sorry. Sorry for failing you. Sorry for choosing my pride and my reputation over your well-being. Sorry for every moment I made you feel unloved. You were never the problem. I was. I was a weak man who let a monster control my life. I should have protected you. Instead, I hurt you. On this flash drive is everything you need to destroy Catherine Harris. Use it. Get justice for yourself and for all her victims. And please, if you can, forgive me. Not because I deserve it, but because you do. You deserve to be free of the pain I caused. You are my daughter. You always were. I just forgot that when it mattered most. I love you, Tiana. I always did. Marcus and Tiana stood in that office, holding each other, crying for what was lost and what could have been. But they also felt something else. Hope. Because with this evidence, Mrs. Harris was finished, completely and utterly finished. Justice delayed is justice denied, but justice served is justice sweet. 6 months after Mrs. Harris's arrest, the trial finally began. The federal courthouse in Chicago was packed with reporters, supporters, and curious onlookers. This was the trial of the decade. Marcus sat in the front row with Tiana on one side and their lawyer David on the other. Behind them sat Grace, Grandma Rose, Dr. Chin, and James in his wheelchair. Their entire support system was there. Mrs. Catherine Harris walked into the courtroom in an orange jumpsuit, looking 20 years older than she had 6 months ago. Prison had not been kind to her. Her elegant hair was gray and unkempt. Her face was lined with stress, but her eyes still burned with hatred when she looked at Tiana and Marcus. All rise for the Honorable Judge Patricia Williams. Judge Williams was a no-nonsense black woman in her 60s who had a reputation for being fair but tough. Be seated. We're here for the trial of Catherine Marie Harris, charged with 43 counts, including murder, conspiracy, racketeering, bribery, 3 murders, including her husband. How does the defendant plead? Mrs. Harris's lawyer, a slick white man in an expensive suit, stood up. Not guilty on all counts, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the evidence against Mrs. Harris is overwhelming. We have bank records, recordings, witness testimony, and documented proof of a criminal conspiracy spanning 20 years. Mrs. Harris has destroyed lives, murdered innocent people, and corrupted our justice system. We intend to prove every single charge. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The first witness was Detective Morrison. He testified about the investigation, the evidence they'd gathered, and Mrs. Harris's attempts to obstruct justice. The second witness was Kennedy, the cybersecurity expert. She showed the jury digital evidence proving Mrs. Harris had orchestrated the drugging at the hotel 5 years ago. These emails show Mrs. Harris paid $50,000 to have Mr. Kane and Ms. Brooks drugged and placed in the same hotel room. Her goal was to create a pregnancy so she could control the resulting child. The jury looked shocked. The third witness was Simone Harris. She walked into the courtroom looking fragile but determined. She refused to look at her mother. Miss Harris, can you tell the jury about your mother's plans? Angela asked. My mother wanted to control Marcus Kane's fortune. She saved his life when he was 15, and she believed he owed her everything. When he married Tiana instead of me, she decided to destroy them both. Did you participate in any of these crimes? Simone looked down. Yes, I helped her at first. I seduced the prosecutor. I helped spread lies about Tiana. I was complicit. Why did you eventually turn against your mother? Because she killed my fiancé 6 years ago. Poisoned him because he wasn't wealthy enough for our family. I've been gathering evidence against her ever since. Mrs. Harris stood up suddenly. You ungrateful little traitor, after everything I did for you? Order! Judge Williams banged her gavel. Mrs. Harris, sit down or you'll be removed from this courtroom. The fourth witness was the medical examiner who confirmed that Mr. Harris had indeed been poisoned with digitalis years ago. The fifth witness was a former prison guard who testified that Mrs. Harris had tried to arrange a hit on Tiana while she was in custody. She offered me $50,000 to arrange an accident. When I refused, she threatened my family. The sixth witness was the most devastating. Robert Martinez's lawyer, Jonathan Reeves. He presented Robert's confession and the flash drive with recorded evidence. The jury listened to Mrs. Harris's own voice admitting to murder. He was going to divorce me and take half my fortune. I couldn't let that happen. So I poisoned him, made it look like a heart attack, and nobody suspected a thing. The courtroom erupted. Judge Williams had to call for order 3 times. Finally, it was Tiana's turn to testify. She walked to the witness stand with her head held high. She was wearing a simple purple dress, her power color. Mrs. Kane, can you describe what Mrs. Harris has done to your family? Angela asked. Tiana took a deep breath. She orchestrated my assault. She arranged for my children to be separated at birth. She framed me for crimes I didn't commit. She put me in jail. She tried to have me killed. She kidnapped my children. She tried to blow up my husband. She destroyed my sense of safety. For months, I couldn't sleep. My children had nightmares. We lived in constant fear. Why do you think she did all this? Because she couldn't control us. She's a woman who believes she owns people. When we refused to be owned, she tried to destroy us. No further questions. Mrs. Harris's lawyer tried to discredit Tiana during cross-examination, but she didn't budge. She answered every question calmly and truthfully. Finally, Mrs. Harris took the stand in her own defense. Her lawyer asked her soft questions, trying to paint her as a misunderstood philanthropist. But when Angela cross-examined her, everything fell apart. Mrs. Harris, you claim you never tried to hurt the Kane family, yet we have recordings of you ordering kidnappings. How do you explain that? Those recordings are fake, manipulated. We had 3 independent experts verify their authenticity. Are you saying all 3 are lying? I'm saying I was set up by people who wanted my money. Mrs. Harris, you have $3 billion obtained through illegal means. You've murdered 3 people. You've ruined countless lives. And you expect this jury to believe you're the victim? I am the victim. I saved Marcus Kane's life. He owed me. You saved a 15-year-old boy from drowning. That's admirable, but it doesn't give you the right to control his entire life. He wouldn't be anything without me. He's a self-made billionaire who built an empire through hard work and intelligence. You didn't build that. He did. Mrs. Harris snapped. Years of control and manipulation finally broke through. He was mine. I saved him. I made him. And that trashy little nobody stole him from my daughter. She didn't deserve him. She deserved to die. The courtroom went silent. Mrs. Harris's lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear. No further questions, Angela said, with a satisfied smile. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the foreman stood up. On the charge of first-degree murder, we find the defendant guilty.
On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of kidnapping, we find the defendant guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty. All 43 counts. Guilty on every single one. Mrs. Harris collapsed in her chair. Judge Williams looked at her with disgust. Catherine Harris, you are a cancer on society. You've used your wealth and influence to hurt innocent people. You've corrupted our justice system. You've murdered, terrorized, and destroyed lives for your own selfish purposes. I sentence you to life in federal prison without possibility of parole on each count of murder to run consecutively. That's 3 life sentences. You will die in prison, Mrs. Harris, and society will be safer because of it. As they led Mrs. Harris away, she looked at Tiana one last time. I hope you're happy, she spat. I'm not happy, Tiana said calmly. I'm just free. Free of you, free of your evil, free to live my life. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed them. Mrs. Kane, how does it feel to get justice? Tiana stepped up to the microphones. It feels like we can finally breathe. For months, my family lived in fear. We couldn't sleep. We couldn't feel safe. But today, justice was served. Catherine Harris will spend the rest of her life in prison where she belongs. What message do you have for other victims of powerful people? Don't give up. The truth always comes out eventually. It might take time. It might be painful. But justice will prevail if you keep fighting. That night, the family celebrated at their penthouse apartment. Destiny and Isaiah were finally smiling again. Nathan was too young to understand, but sensed the joy. Is it really over? Are we really safe now? Yes, buddy. The bad people are all in jail. We're safe. Finally, truly safe. Destiny hugged her mother tight. I love you, Mommy. I love you too, baby, more than anything in this world. Even in victory, the past has one more lesson to teach. 2 days after the trial, Simone Harris called Tiana. Can we meet? There's something I need to tell you. They met at a quiet coffee shop. Simone looked different, lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. Thank you for testifying, Tiana said. That took courage. It was the least I could do. But, Tiana, there's something you need to know. Something about that night 5 years ago. What about it? Simone pulled out a folder. My mother kept detailed records of everything. I found these after she was arrested. They're hospital records from the night you gave birth. Tiana opened the folder. Her hands started shaking. What am I looking at? The night you delivered the twins, my mother was at the hospital. She bribed a nurse to switch the baby boy's medical records. She made it look like he was stillborn when he was actually alive. We know that already. But what you don't know is why. My mother wanted Isaiah. She planned on having me raise him as my own child. She was going to tell Marcus that I had adopted a baby and see if he'd fall in love with me because of it. That's sick. It is, but the plan fell apart when Marcus found Isaiah abandoned before my mother could get to him. She had paid someone to leave him in that box temporarily, just long enough for her people to find him and bring him to me, but Marcus got there first. So everything, from the drugging to the separation of my babies, was all planned by your mother? Yes, and there's more. Simone pulled out another document.
This is a DNA test my mother had done when Isaiah was a baby. She knew he was Marcus's biological son. She's known for 4 years and never told anyone. Why not? Because if Marcus knew Isaiah was his biological child, he would have investigated how that happened. He would have discovered the drugging. The whole conspiracy would have unraveled. So she kept it secret. Tiana felt tears coming. Your mother stole 4 years from us. 4 years we could have known Isaiah was our biological son. I know, and I'm so sorry. I should have said something sooner, but I was scared of her. What made you finally break free? Simone looked down at her hands. When I saw your children crying on TV after the kidnapping attempt, I realized I had become just like my mother, putting money and status above human decency. I didn't want to be that person anymore. What will you do now? I'm testifying against everyone else my mother worked with, the corrupt judges, the dirty cops, all of them. And then I'm leaving Chicago, starting over somewhere new. Maybe I can be a better person if I'm not surrounded by all this evil. I hope you find peace, Simone. You too, Tiana. You deserve it more than anyone. After Simone left, Tiana sat in that coffee shop crying, not from sadness, but from relief. It was truly over. Every secret had been exposed. Every villain had been caught. Every question had been answered.
When the dust settles, you count what remains and rebuild from there. 3 months after the trial, life slowly returned to normal. The kids went back to school with therapy appointments twice a week. Marcus returned to work, though he delegated more to spend time with family. Tiana reopened Rose's pharmacy and expanded to help more people. But healing wasn't linear. Destiny still had nightmares sometimes. Isaiah was quieter than before. Nathan developed separation anxiety and cried whenever his parents left his sight. "Is this our new normal?" Tiana asked one night after calming Destiny from another nightmare. "For now," Marcus said, "but kids are resilient. They'll heal. We all will." They decided to see a family therapist together. Dr. Patricia Anderson, a warm black woman in her 50s who specialized in trauma. "What you went through would break most families," Dr. Anderson said during their first session. "The fact that you're all still together, still fighting for each other, shows incredible strength." "It doesn't feel strong," Destiny said quietly. "I'm scared all the time now." "That's normal, sweetheart. When bad things happen, our brains try to protect us by staying on high alert. But over time, as you see that you're safe, your brain will relax again." "When?" Isaiah asked. "When will I stop being scared?" "It's different for everyone. But I promise you, it gets better, little by little, day by day." They went to therapy every week. Slowly, the nightmares became less frequent. The fear became more manageable. The family started laughing again. Grace became a regular part of their lives. She came to family dinners, babysat the kids, and slowly built a relationship with Tiana. "I'm not trying to replace Grandma Rose. She raised you. She earned the title of Grandma. I'm just glad to be here now." "Me too," Tiana said honestly. James recovered from his injuries, but remained in a wheelchair. Marcus offered him any job he wanted in the company. "Actually," James said, "I want to start a security company specifically for protecting victims of stalking and harassment. Use what happened to us to help other people." "I'll fund it," Marcus said immediately. "Whatever you need." "I'll help run it," Tiana added. "We can offer free security services to women escaping abusive relationships." And that's exactly what they did. The James Washington Security Foundation became one of the most respected protection services in Chicago, helping hundreds of people find safety. Dr. Chen continued mentoring young doctors and cleared Tiana's medical reputation completely.
She was offered her old job back at City Hope Hospital, but she declined. "I'm exactly where I need to be," she said. "Rose's pharmacy helps people in a way hospitals can't. This is my calling." One evening, the entire family gathered at the penthouse for dinner. Grace, Grandma Rose, Dr. Chin, James, David the lawyer, Detective Morrison, Kennedy the hacker, everyone who'd helped them through the nightmare. "I want to make a toast," Marcus said, standing up with his glass, "on family. Not just the one you're born into, but the one you choose. The one that stands by you when times are dark. The one that fights for you when you can't fight for yourself." "To family!" everyone echoed. Later that night, after the guests left and the kids were asleep, Marcus and Tiana stood on their balcony overlooking Chicago. "We made it," Tiana said. "We actually survived." "We did more than survive. We won." "Do you ever think about that day at the community center when you asked me to marry you?" "Every day. Best decision I ever made." "I was so desperate back then, broke, scared, hopeless, and you were this stranger offering me a crazy solution. And look at us now, 5 beautiful children, an empire of businesses helping people, a love that survived hell." Tiana turned to him. "Marcus Kane, would you marry me again if we could go back to that moment, knowing everything we know now? All the pain, all the danger, all the fear, would you still ask me?" "In a heartbeat. Every single time. You're my soulmate, Tiana, my partner, my everything." "Then let's do it." "Do what?" "Renew our vows, a real ceremony this time, with all our children, all our friends, all our family. Let's celebrate what we built from nothing." Marcus smiled. "Are you proposing to me, Mrs. Kane?" "I am, Mr. Kane, so what do you say?" He kissed her deeply. "I say yes, 1,000 times yes." Some endings come with flames and some with grace. The vow renewal ceremony was planned on a Saturday in June, exactly 6 years after their courthouse wedding. But 2 days before the ceremony, they got shocking news. Mrs. Harris had died in prison. "Heart attack," Detective Morrison explained over the phone. "She was 67. The stress of prison life, the isolation, the loss of everything, her body just gave out." "How do you feel about it?" Marcus asked Tiana after he hung up. "I don't know. Part of me wanted her to suffer longer. Part of me is relieved she's gone and can never hurt anyone again. And part of me just feels sad. Sad that she threw away her entire life for greed and control. She could have been happy. She could have been a force for good. Instead, she became a monster." "That was her choice." "I know, but it's still sad." They attended Mrs. Harris's funeral. Only a handful of people showed up. Simone, a few former employees, and Marcus and Tiana. Simone stood at the grave crying. "She was a terrible person, an evil person, but she was still my mother, and I loved her even though I hated what she became." Tiana put her arm around Simone. "It's okay to grieve the person she could have been." "I wasted so many years trying to please her, trying to earn her love. And for what? She's gone and I have nothing." "You have your freedom. You have a chance to build a better life. That's not nothing." After the funeral, they went home to their children. Destiny had made a sign that said 2 days until the wedding. Nathan was excited about his role as ring bearer. Isaiah was practicing his speech as best man.
Grace had flown in from visiting relatives. Grandma Rose was staying with them to help coordinate.
The penthouse was chaos, the best kind of chaos. "Mommy, can I wear my princess dress?" Destiny asked. "Of course, baby. You can wear whatever makes you happy." "I want to wear my princess dress too," Nathan announced. "You want to wear a dress?" Marcus asked, amused. "Yeah, dresses are pretty." "Then wear a dress, buddy. Be whoever you want to be." The night before the ceremony, Tiana couldn't sleep. She wandered into the living room and found Marcus already there, looking at old photos on his tablet. "Couldn't sleep either?" she asked. Too excited. "Look at this." He showed her a photo from their first courthouse wedding. They looked so young, so uncertain, so scared. "We had no idea what we were getting into," Tiana said. "Best blind leap I ever took." "Me too." They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the Chicago skyline light up the night. "Tiana, I need to tell you something," Marcus said finally. "What?" "That night, 5 years ago at the hotel, I've recovered some memories. Not everything, but fragments. And I remember you." "What do you remember?" "I remember thinking you were the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. I remember feeling safe with you, even though we were both drugged and confused. I remember thinking, I could love her. I could really love her. And then I passed out and woke up alone." Tears filled Tiana's eyes. "I remember you too. I remember your kindness, how even drugged you asked if I was okay, how you tried to protect me, how you made me feel less scared. Maybe our souls recognized each other that night. Maybe that's why when we met at the community center, it felt like coming home. Maybe that's exactly what happened." They held each other as the city slept around them, two people who'd been brought together by evil, but stayed together through love. Tomorrow they would celebrate that love in front of everyone who mattered. But tonight, it was just them, just Marcus and Tiana, just two souls who'd found each other against impossible odds. And that was enough. Every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. The morning of the vow renewal ceremony dawned bright and clear, perfect June weather, not too hot, with a gentle breeze off Lake Michigan. The ceremony was held at a beautiful garden venue on the south side, the same neighborhood where Tiana had grown up struggling. Now she was returning in triumph. 300 guests filled the white chairs. Friends, family, business associates, people from the community. Everyone who'd been part of their journey. Isaiah stood at the altar as Marcus's best man, looking so grown up in his little tuxedo. Destiny was Tiana's maid of honor, wearing a purple dress that matched her mother's. Nathan waited with the rings, taking his job very seriously. Grace and Grandma Rose sat in the front row together, both crying happy tears. The music started. Everyone stood. Tiana walked down the aisle alone because she didn't need anyone to give her away. She belonged to herself, and she was choosing Marcus freely. When their eyes met, Marcus started crying. After everything they'd been through, here they were, still standing, still together, still in love. The pastor, a warm black woman from Tiana's childhood church, smiled at them. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness something extraordinary, not just a vow renewal, but a celebration of survival. Marcus and Tiana Kane have walked through fire together. They've faced evil, betrayal, and danger, but they've also experienced love, loyalty, and triumph. Marcus, would you like to say your vows?" Marcus took Tiana's hands. "Tiana Brooks Kane, 6 years ago, I asked you to marry me on the craziest blind leap of faith. I didn't know you. I didn't know if we'd work, but something in my soul said, this is the one, and I was right.
You've given me 5 beautiful children. You've stood behind me through corporate battles. You've survived prison, kidnapping, and attempts on your life. And through it all, you've remained kind, compassionate, and strong. I vow to love you until my last breath. I vow to protect our family with everything I have. I vow to build a life with you that honors everything we've survived and everything we've become. You are my partner, my best friend, my soulmate, and I choose you. Today, tomorrow, forever. The audience applauded through tears. Tiana, the pastor said. Tiana smiled through her own tears. Marcus Kane, when I met you, I was broken. I was desperate. I had nothing to offer except a daughter and a mountain of problems. But you saw something in me I couldn't see in myself. You've given me a family when mine threw me away. You've given me safety when I was in danger. You've given me love when I thought I was unlovable. You fought for me when everyone else believed I was guilty. You've never given up on me, not even once. I vow to love you with everything I am. I vow to build our empire together, helping people who were once like me. I vow to raise our children to be kind, strong, and compassionate, and I vow to choose you every single day for the rest of my life. Because Marcus Kane, you didn't just save me. You showed me how to save myself. And that's the greatest gift anyone has ever given me. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Again, the pastor laughed. Marcus, you may kiss your bride. Marcus pulled Tiana close and kissed her deeply. The audience erupted in applause and cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Marcus and Tiana Kane. At the reception, there were speeches. Isaiah stood up first. Mom and Dad, thank you for never giving up on me. I was abandoned in a box, but you gave me a home. You gave me a sister and brothers. You gave me everything. I love you both so much.
Destiny went next. Mommy, when we had nothing, you never stopped fighting for us. You're the strongest person I know. And Daddy, thank you for choosing us. You didn't have to, but you did. We're the luckiest kids in the world. Dr. Chin spoke about Tiana's journey from a struggling intern to a successful pharmacy owner who helped thousands. Detective Morrison talked about their courage in facing down corruption. James gave a speech from his wheelchair about Marcus's loyalty and Tiana's strength. Grace stood up, her voice shaking. I gave up my daughter when she was 2 weeks old. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought she'd have a better life without me. For 27 years, I watched from a distance as she struggled, as she was hurt, as she survived. And now, finally, I get to be part of her life. Tiana, thank you for giving me a second chance. You're the strongest woman I've ever known, and I'm so proud to call you my daughter. Finally, Marcus and Tiana stood up together to address their guest. Thank you all for being here, Marcus said. 6 years ago, Tiana and I made a crazy decision to marry each other after one conversation. Everyone thought we were insane. We were insane, Tiana laughed. But sometimes crazy is exactly what you need. Our journey hasn't been easy, Marcus continued. We faced things that would destroy most couples. But we made it. Because when you find your person, the one who's meant to walk beside you through heaven and hell, you don't let go. We're standing here today not just as survivors, but as victors, Tiana added. We've built a life from nothing. We've created a family from broken pieces.
we've turned our pain into purpose. Rose's Pharmacy now has 20 locations helping low-income communities. The James Washington Security Foundation has protected over 500 abuse victims. Kane Enterprises has created 10,000 jobs. Our children are thriving. Our love is stronger than ever. From struggle to love, from pain to purpose, from strangers to soulmates, they said together. The party lasted until midnight. There was dancing, laughter, joy. All the darkness of the past year melted away in the light of celebration. Later, after the guests left and the kids were asleep at Grandma Rose's house, Marcus and Tiana returned to their penthouse apartment. They stood on their balcony one last time, looking out at Chicago. "We made it," Tiana whispered. "We really made it. We did more than make it. We thrived. What's next for us?" "More babies," Marcus suggested with a grin. "We have 5 already. So what? Make it 6. Tiana laughed. "Maybe. Or maybe we adopt some kids who need homes like Isaiah did." "I like that idea. Give more children the chance we gave Isaiah. A whole house full of love and chaos. Perfect." They went inside ready to start the next chapter of their lives. There would be more challenges ahead. There always were. But they would face them together. Epilogue. 10 years later. Tiana stood on stage at a packed auditorium at Northwestern University. She was giving the keynote speech for the business school graduation. 10 years ago, I was a single mother working 2 jobs, living in a tiny apartment, struggling to survive. Today, I'm the CEO of Rose's Pharmacy Network, which operates in 40 states and helps millions of people access affordable health care. People ask me how I went from poverty to success. The answer is simple. I never gave up. When my family betrayed me, I kept going. When I was falsely accused, I kept fighting. When people tried to destroy me, I kept rising. But I didn't do it alone. I had a partner who believed in me. I had children who needed me. I have friends who supported me. Success isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about building a community that lifts each other up. So, to the graduates here today, don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to marry the stranger at the next table. Don't be afraid to build your dream even when everyone says it's impossible. Because the impossible is just the possible that hasn't happened yet. The audience gave her a standing ovation. After the speech, she met Marcus outside. Their children were with them. Isaiah, now 16 and planning to study medicine. Destiny, 16 and already designing clothes. Nathan, 13 and performing comedy at local clubs. The twins they'd adopted, 7-year-old Marcus Jr. and Maria, and their youngest biological daughter, 5-year-old Hope. "Mom, that speech was amazing," Destiny said, hugging her. "I inspire you every day," Isaiah added. "Can we get ice cream?" Nathan asked, always thinking with his stomach. "Ice cream for everyone," Marcus announced. As they walked through Chicago's downtown, a normal family, enjoying a normal day, Tiana thought about everything they'd survived. The betrayals, the kidnappings, the trials, the pain, but also the love, the healing, the triumph, the joy. She'd been rejected on a blind date, but the man at the next table had fallen for her. He married her instantly, and together they built an empire. Not an empire of money, though they had plenty of that. an empire of love, of family, of purpose. From struggle to love, from nothing to everything, from despair to hope. That was their story, and it was just beginning.
Thank you for joining Marcus and Tiana on their incredible journey from struggle to love. This story reminds us that A, love can find you in the darkest moments. B, strength comes from surviving what you thought would break you. C, family is what you build, not just what you're born into. D, justice may be delayed, but it's never denied. E, your past doesn't define your future. If this story touched your heart, like this video, subscribe for more inspiring romance stories. Comment where you're watching from and what part made you cry. Share with someone who believes in second chances. Remember, no matter how dark your struggle, love and hope can still find you. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Hashtag from struggle to love, Black romance, billionaire romance. Never give up.